In today's video, we are going to build a React Native to-do list application, which is a mobile application and with full stack functionality, saving the data into DB, fetching from DB and everything. And we are going to use create T3 app with React Native. If you haven't seen my last video in which I have explained about the project we are going to build in this video, about the tools we are going to use inside this video to build our project and all the other stuff as well. So please watch my previous video as well so that you will be able to understand what I am doing and why I am doing. So now let's start the main part, which is the building part. So here, as you can see, if you go to T3 OSS, which is T3 open source, search, you can search on Google T3 app with React Native and you will find the top result, which is create T3 O Turbo. So this is what we are going to use. So in the T3 open source, you can find all the stuff here. We are going to use this Turbo thing, which is a mobile application thing. So to install this project, we can use this command. Copy this command, open a terminal, go to your directory where you want to initialize this project. So we want to go to desktop. I want to go to YouTube and I will create my project over here. I will use PNPM because it helps me to save my disk space. You can search more about it, why PNPM is better than NPM or Yarn. Then I will use PE and PX create turbo at the latest, and it will use this link to fetch the repository. So hit enter, it will create a new project. It will ask us where would you like to create new turbo repo. So we can say we want to create my turbo repo inside /demo. We can say first React Native with tRPC turbo repo. It will create a new folder. Which package manager you want to use, we will use and PNPM, and it will download the files. It will create all the packages as you can see, and it will install the dependencies. So okay, so it failed. Why it is failed? And let's go into first React Native and we will open this with a code editor like VS Studio, Visual Studio Code. We'll see what is happening over here. Okay, so it also gives us some stuff with CI/CD. Let's stop. So in the example, we need a database URL. Currently, we will only use this db.local. We can use this local SQLite file, which is okay, which is totally dope. We can generate a random secret and you can utilize Nexthost, but on the mobile application, we are not going to use Nexthost, which is only built for Next.js. We are only going to use something called Supabase or Firebase for our authentication. This is just for web. This is just for if you want to prefer this core auth. We are only worried about this, and it will create a new file over here when we push the changes to our server from our schema. So here we have Expo, here we have Next.js. In the Expo, we have source. In the app, we have all the details here. As you can see, this looks just like this is much similar to our Next.js application. In the mobile app, in the React Native app, we use something called view instead of division. We use something called text instead of p tag. We use touchable opacity instead of button. That's all you have to know for now, and we will see more stuff later. So you can see the layout we have some stack here, status bar, which you see on the top of the mobile, and that's all. You can see the app directory, or you can see the routes are dynamic just like Next.js, and this is a file-based routing, so you don't have to worry about managing all the stacks for building your mobile UI. You can just think like a file system and you can define new components like file-based routing. We are using Expo router and we are using Expo as I have told you in my previous video. Okay, here we have Expo plugins. Here we will define our plugins. Cool. So it is already given to us. This plugin is required for fixing .apk build issue. It appends Expo and React Native version into build.gradle file. References are this. Okay, good. So this is given to us by the starter code. It's good. It's awesome. Here I'm just hanging around in the code and I'm finding out what is this and how we can. You can see this is a tailwind config. We are using native something called, if you go here in the native this is the way we use Tailwind CSS inside our React Native application using native. Here we have our Next.js application. We are not going to use this Next.js application. We are just going to use this Expo. Inside the packages, we are going to use this API package, and it's good. Here we will define all our routes like post, like get all the post, get the post by ID, create a post, delete a post. So this is the whole CRUD operation, and it is being done by our server, which is a Next.js server hosted on Vercel, and our application will be available on App Store or Play Store, and our server code will not be included in our client code. That's why this is the separate package which we will install as a dev dependencies. And in the expo, if you go here in the post, here we are fetching our post like this API post by ID use query like that. You can see this is pretty easy to fetch. We are just creating a React query hook. Basically, you can say hook, and we are calling the hook as we need it. It's okay, it's totally awesome. In the packages, let's find out auth. We also don't need the auth for now. We are only worried about this thing, which is API. This will help us to define our logic. This is the config we have. This is a Tailwind. Tailwind config, ESLint config. Here we have our DB. Here we can define our schemas. The Next.js is already defined. Here we have our demo post, which is a simple model with ID, title, and content. Now let's install all the, here we have our JSON. Now let's install all the package, all the libraries in the root directory, and then we will install all the libraries inside our each application. So what you need to do is npm install. Run this, and it is saying unsupported wanted Node.js greater than current one is this. Okay, so let's upgrade. So to manage your environment, to manage your Node.js or npm version, what you can use something called nvm, which is a node version manager. If you search nvm, it is a node version manager. You can install this, you can use this. So I will use an nvm list. It's good, and I want to update, so I will say use nvm use latest, not latest. Let's show all the command nvm help. Here we have all this stuff here. We want to use the LTS version, so nvm use LTS. Let's find out the current version of Node. So we have the 18.16.1 nvm install LTS. Let's browse all the version. Okay, so it is giving us all the versions of Node. It's used. So this is the latest version which you want. So nvm install 18.16.1. Now using Node version 18.16.1. That's cool. Now we can install all of our packages. You have seen how I find out what the command I need and how I installed everything I need. So it is still saying that pnpm was generated by newer version of pnpm. It is, let's delete this thing. So sometimes pnpm is not the best option. It may help you to save your disk space, but it can create some other headaches for your projects. So I will say pnpm install. Still it is not helping us. Now what we can do, we can use the yarn as well. Let's try it and find out the error we are getting. Pnpm install. This error happened by installing a direct dependency of this. Is not in the npm, or you have. Okay, so let's find out in the documentation what we need to do. How about if we use yarn? It will show us the error. Let's try it. This doesn't found. So instead of calling it ECME, so we need to change our file name here in the tsconfig in the turbo.json. Let's find out what we are getting. So this is what we have missed. In this template, we use @ECME as a placeholder for packages name. As a user, you might want to replace it with your own organization or project name. You can find and replace to change all the instances of with something my company or my project. So it's not that you have to use @ECME/. This is what I want to include. So what we can do, we can search this everything, and we can replace this with whatever we want. So we can say @todo app/ like that, and we will replace all the occurrences of todo app like that. Now it's good. Now if you go to package.json, so this dependencies doesn't mean it is being fetched from npm, it is being fetched from these packages. So first we have to build these packages. So to build these packages, we need to run some commands. So first let's build the packages. So what we need to do, pnpm run build, but node module says okay, so first we have to install all the stuff over here. Pnpm install, but if we run this, it will say that this is not npm registry and we need permission to fetch it. So how about maybe this is because of open in Finder, here we have YouTube, and in the YouTube we have this first React Native. Instead we can say to do app, like that. Okay, this name is already taken, so we can say to do React Native to do. So now our application is React Native to do instead of to do. Change directory to React Native to do. Open the code editor. Yeah, that's good. And if we search, you can see we have changed a lot of things. So instead of to do app, to do app, what we want React Native to do. We can say React Native and to do, just like that. Let's replace all this stuff. Now we have our React Native to do everywhere. Do you want to install the recommend? Yeah, install this containers type. Would you like to allow? Let's close this. I will do this stuff later. Now if we try to install this, it is still showing that it's not npm registry, so we need to. Here you can see the dependencies are being installed correctly. I'm using npm this time. Something is not working with pnpm, and let's not worry about pnpm part. We can move ahead with npm as well. That's why I have created this whole thing, and I'm using npm this time, and it is installing all of the dependencies, and we will utilize this code base, not this one. So we can remove this and we will utilize this. So let's wait for some time until it finish installation. So here you can see all of our dependencies are installed, and now we will go to our dependencies, which is React Native to do. We will go to our application directory and we will open our Visual Studio Code. Now everything will work just like it should. So we have our package.json. Everything looks good. If we go to our package.json, these are the packages we have inside our application. Instead of this ekme, what we are going to do is we are going to say, I'm gonna say club of coders. This is much better. You can choose whatever you want. So I will change all the occurrences across. Let's change all the occurrences. So now we have club of coders /ESLint config. You can choose whatever you want. You can say @xyz ESLint config, and you can change all of that at once here. Now if you go to tsconfig.json, it's good. Everything looks good to me. Now we can define our routes here. You can see this looks good. Here if you go to Prisma schema, here we are using our database URL, which is currently, first we need to create a .env file. We need to copy all the content from here to here. And this is okay. This is also okay. You can generate a random ID using this command. You can copy it. And for now, we don't need Discord client ID, and because we are not using Next.js, which is inside apps inside Next.js. We are only going to focus on this expo stuff. In the app we have post, here we have layout, here we have index. So to start all of our packages, to start doing stuff, we need to do a few things. So let's go to GitHub from where we have installed this project. Here you can see how to quick start. So in this packages, use SQLite, and we can choose to use our own package. So let's use SQLite for now. We are just using a demo application. If you go to env, this is a SQLite database, and that's why use the SQLite database, and we need to do a push to sync our database with our schema. It will create a file which is SQLite file, and it will push all the DB content inside it. So what we can do, npx, or we can say npm prisma db push. Not here, so let's go to command plus p to open this pop-up, or you can, if you are on Windows, you can use control plus p. So use the shortcut command p, go to package.json. Here you can see for db push, you can use this script. So what we are going to use, we will use npm run db push. It will push and create a SQLite file, which is anywhere here in the packages. In the DB, in the Prisma, you can see this is our SQLite file, which is a local database just for development purpose, nothing else. Now we have a local database. In the future tutorial, we will use a remote database, and I will teach you how you can do that as well. So now we have our database setup, and we can install everything we want. So configure our export dev. So because I am on Mac machine, I will focus on building an iOS mobile application first instead of building an Android mobile application. So make sure you have Xcode and command line tools installed in your laptop or in your Mac OS PC. So you can go to the documentation and you can install the simulator. You can install everything it needs. I have already did that, so I will directly use this dev expo start iOS. If you just install Xcode, if you have updated it, you need to open the simulator manually once and run npx expo start in the root directory. Enter I to launch expo go. After manual launch, you can run pnpm dev in the root directory. Okay. So here, if you go to package.json, if you see the dev turbo dev parallel, that's good. So we want to, it might be easier to run each app in separate terminal windows, so you get logs from each app separately. Yes, this is also required if you want your terminal to be interactive, easy to access the expo QR code. You can run pnpm filter expo dev, pnpm filter next.js dev to run each app in separate terminal window. Yeah, we have to run both the application. Why? Because next.js will help us to run our server. So we have to configure this expo dev script. If you go to apps, if you go to expo, in the package.json, we have expo start iOS. We have expo start iOS. Yeah, so this is what we need, which is by default correct. Cool. Now what we need to do, we need to pnpm. We can directly run pnpm them. It will start all of our applications, but we don't want to start all. We want to start them in separate windows. So here we will install over, or we can say here we will initialize or run our expo dev, but it will say workspaces field in package is not supported. Okay, not pnpm. I will say npm filter expo dev, and it will, yeah. So what it is saying, if you go to, let's run all the stuff first, npm run dev, and then we will run them separately. So you can say turbo dev separately. Here is our database is initialized, unable to communicate with Prisma client, reload studio, something is failed. So I think we need to go into the directory where our application are. So we will go to apps, we will go to expo. Now we are into expo. You can see by using the la or ls command. Ls, here we have our package.json, and now here we can say npm run dev. Not here, npm run dev. So it should install our expo. Yeah. Now you can see it is starting the Metro bundler, and it is starting our expo package, and it is opening our application in iPhone 14 Pro. Open a new terminal. In the new terminal, we will start our server, which is a Next.js application with tRPC. Here we will go to apps, we will go to Next.js. If we hit ls, we will list all the commands, and here we can say npm run dev as well. It will install, or let's go to npm run dev. So yeah, it will run the dev, but we have some we can say we have something missing. What stuff we are missing is, if you go to T3 name, if you go to auth, options, in the env, which is from env.mjs, where it is config, where is the env packages. Yeah, here it is our env in the authentication. So we are saying that we need next auth URL, and if you go to our env, you can see we have next auth URL, we have database, we have next auth secret, but we don't have this Discord client and secret, and we don't need them. So we can remove them from here. We can remove them from as well because it is not required. Save this thing, go to env. We can remove this, go to the auth config, which is inside the config, inside the auth options. We can remove both of these options. We don't need the providers for now. What it is saying, cannot find module. Save this for now. Now it's good. Now it will work. If we try to initialize or if we try to run our Next.js application, it should work. Okay, something went wrong. Cannot find package @clubofcoders/auth. Okay, so what we have did the mistake. We have installed all the dependencies, and then we changed our dependency name. We have to run npm install again. So close this iOS simulator for now as well. You can see our iOS simulator is running. First run npm install. It will install all the packages we have. Now it has installed the packages, which you can see here @clubofcoders.auth, @clubofcoders.db, which goes directly into the packages here. Now if you go to auth, if you go to source auth options, now there is no error, and you can run the specific things now. So you can run npm run dev here. You can run npm run there as well. Now our server is started. You can see on the localhost 3000 our application is started, and you can open the application in expo. So click on open, and it should open the application. Let's see. Yeah, it is opening our application here. T3 turbo, this is a splash screen which comes before. If you go to the app, here is our expo. Okay, so it is being bundled. You can see the process is ongoing. You can see this is first time. Yeah, got it. You can see press on post. So now this is our demo application. Here we can type something, hit enter. Here we can type something, content, hit enter, and we can publish our post. It will save the post into our DB. So what it is doing is, if you go to the app in the index, here we can see we have text, and here we have create post. This is the form we have, text input, and when we press this button, it will create our post. It will mutate just like we do in web application. It will create this post. So now let's create the post. Click on publish post, and it will send a request to the server. You can see all the queries are being run here. So hit on publish post. You can see insert query has run, and you can see the new post here. If we click on this post, we can go to this post. We can go to the screen just like a mobile or a web application. We can delete this as well. You can see how cool is this. Publish, go to the post, delete. So this is what the demo looks like. Now here we can build whatever we want. Here we can build an Instagram clone. Here we can Facebook clone. We can build a Twitter clone, or we can build some useful application which can be used by many users, or we can build a real product out of it. So this is what we have built, or we have seen till now. So I think this is all for this video. This is a lot of content which you have to understand, and it will take some time. So take your time, understand everything what we have did here. We will build custom mobile application with this stack, and this is going to be very fun projects. So thank you very much, and I will see you in some another tutorial.